I've spent most of my life on the water. My father used to say that lakes have personalities, some kind, some cruel, and some that watch you back. I always laughed at that until I spent a summer at Lake Lanier in Georgia. You've probably heard of it. Big, beautiful, man-made lake, popular with boaters and fishermen. But if you've ever talked to the locals, really talked, they'll tell you not to fish there after dark. They'll tell you that sometimes the lake speaks. I didn't believe it, not until it spoke to me. It was June when I drove down from Atlanta, hauling my small aluminum fishing boat. I'd booked a lakeside cabin for the summer, nothing fancy, just a quiet place to clear my head. My wife and I had just separated, and I figured fishing and solitude were the best therapy. The first few weeks were peaceful. I'd wake before sunrise, row out to the center, drop my line, and watch the fog drift across the water like a living thing. The lake was calm, almost too calm, and the silence had a kind of weight to it. One morning, around 4:30 a.m., I noticed something strange. The water around my boat started to ripple, though there wasn't a hint of wind. Then came a sound, faint, almost like whispering. I thought maybe it was a radio on another boat, but there wasn't another soul out there. It wasn't words at first, just a rhythm, a breathy sound rising and falling like a tide. But after a few seconds, I could have sworn I heard my name. Eli. It was so quiet, I thought I imagined it. I laughed it off, reeled in my line, and told myself I was just tired. But the whisper came again the next morning, and the next. There was an old bait shop near the marina, run by a man named Henry, the kind of guy who looked like he'd been born holding a fishing rod. I stopped by to grab some tackle, and half-jokingly mentioned the whispers. He froze, didn't say a word for a few seconds. Then he looked up and said, "You've been fishing out there before sunrise." I nodded. He sighed. "Don't. Lake's different before the sun hits it. Some say it's the cold. Some say it's the ones who never left." "The ones who never left?" I asked. He nodded toward the water. "They flooded whole towns under that lake, you know. Graves, churches, houses. Folks said they never moved the bodies proper. My daddy swore he heard singing out there one night. Said it sounded like the church choir from the town they drowned." I laughed it off again, but there was something in Henry's eyes, not fear exactly, but respect, like a man talking about a storm he'd learned not to challenge. That night, I couldn't sleep. The wind rattled the cabin windows, and the lake seemed to hum outside, a low, constant vibration. Around midnight, I grabbed my flashlight and stepped onto the dock. The surface of the lake was glassy, black as ink. No wind, no crickets, nothing, just silence. Then, clear as anything, I heard it again. "Eli," the voice was soft, coming from across the water. "Who's there?" I shouted, feeling stupid even as I said it. Silence. I started to turn back toward the cabin, but then I heard something new, a reply. "Dot, dot, dot, come closer." I froze. The words had come from the lake itself, from the center where the fog still clung to the surface. I know how crazy that sounds, but it wasn't echo and it wasn't wind. It was like the voice came up from under the water. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I swore I'd pack up and leave, but curiosity got the better of me. I rowed back out, right where I'd heard the voice. The air was heavy, humid, and the lake had that strange quiet again. No birds, no bugs. I dropped my line and waited. Hours passed. Then the line jerked hard. I thought I had a big one, but when I reeled it up, the hook was empty. That's when I saw her. At first, I thought it was a trick of the light, a pale shape just beneath the surface, drifting slowly upward. My heart pounded as it came into focus. It was a woman's face, eyes open, hair floating around her like black seaweed. Then she smiled. Her lips moved, and though I couldn't hear the words clearly, I could feel them in my head, like her voice was inside me. Dot, 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 come down, Eli. The next thing I knew, I was leaning over the side of the boat, my hand in the water. I didn't even realize I'd done it. Something brushed my fingers, cold, slimy, and alive. That shock snapped me out of it. I jerked back so hard the boat rocked, and I almost went over. By the time I looked again, she was gone. The lake was calm, but when I pulled my hand out, it was covered in mud. Thick, black mud, the kind you find at the bottom of a lake. I needed proof, something to convince myself I wasn't losing my mind. The next day, I brought an old tape recorder with me. I rode to the same spot at dawn, hit record, and waited. At first, there was nothing, just the sound of water lapping against the boat. Then, at exactly 5:14 a.m., the whispers began again. I kept the recorder running for 5 minutes. When I played it back later, the blood drained from my face. It started with my own breathing. Then, beneath that, a voice faint but unmistakable. Eli, help me, please come down. Then another voice joined it. Male, older, harsh, like it was right behind me. Don't listen. Don't answer. That was it. The tape cut off. I swear on my life, I never said those words. That wasn't me. I should have left. God knows I should have. But I couldn't stop thinking about that voice, that face, that smile. It was like the lake wanted me, so I went back one last time at midnight. Full moon overhead, the water silver and still. I rowed to the center, shut off the motor, and let the boat drift. All right, I said aloud. You wanted me here. I'm here. The water rippled. Then something broke the surface, a hand. Pale, bloated, reaching upward. Then another. Then a face. But it wasn't just one. There were dozens of them, rising from the black water, men, women, children, all staring up at me, eyes open and empty. Their mouths moved, whispering in unison. Join us. The air grew cold. The boat started to rock violently, though there was no wind. Hands slapped the sides, pulling, clawing. I screamed and grabbed the oars, rowing harder than I ever had in my life. Something caught my leg. I looked down, a hand gripping my ankle. I kicked free, swung the oar down, and hit something solid. There was a wail, a sound that didn't belong to this world, and then everything went silent. When I looked back, the lake was calm again. I left that cabin at dawn, never went back. When I dropped the tape recorder off at the sheriff's office, they laughed until they listened. They didn't say much after that, just told me not to come around asking questions. 2 weeks later, I saw on the news that a local fisherman had gone missing on Lake Lanier. His boat was found adrift. No body recovered. I tried to forget, moved back to Atlanta, but sometimes, late at night, when the house is quiet, I still hear it. A whisper, soft and distant, calling from nowhere. Eli. And I know one day I'll answer.